Today at the City Club of Cleveland, we are listening to a special program featuring speakers BioEnterprise Board Chair Tom Zenty, Jumpstart Board Chair Chris Schmid, Magnet Board Chair Arthur Anton, Team Neo Board Member Don Misheff, NorTech Board Vice Chair Tom Bradshaw, and our moderator Dorothy Baunach of NorTech. We will return to our speakers in a minute for our traditional City Club questions. Now we would like to return to our speakers for our traditional City Club questions and answers. We welcome questions from everybody, including guests. Holding the microphones today are Special Program Committee members Sue Nelson and Linda Clark. And for our first question, please.
Hi there. This question is for Mr. Misheff. I'm optimistic. You're optimistic. Your esteemed colleagues on the panel are optimistic. You talked about this region and the general public. How do we get them to be optimistic?
How do we get the last piece I didn't hear?
The general public.
The general public, yeah. Art, would you well, a little bit I'll say past the plus. You know, that's kind of a saying we use, but I think it's in our day-to-day lives, our day-to-day conversations. Don't always read the negative in the paper and let that be everything you hear about. And I think the better thing I'd say, get engaged. Find an organization that means something to you in your personal or matches up with something, and go become a part of it. I mean, whether it's some subgroup of young professionals, whether it's one of the specialized industries here, whether it's manufacturing, find something that you can go put your hand on and go get involved. The more of us that get involved and start pushing it. And when you're on an airplane and you're flying home to Cleveland and somebody says, you're going to Cleveland? Yes, yeah, it's fabulous. You know what a great saying? Tough place to move to, a great place to call home. Wow, explain that to me. I couldn't have found a better place in the world to raise my kids. Lifestyle. And think of this economy we're going through today. Globally, it's a recession, and we're kidding ourselves if we're not. But where are people going to be looking for? Low cost of living areas. Everybody's trying to take costs out of the system right now. It's ridiculous. I work in an accounting firm. We're looking at it for every client in the world right now. But low cost of living areas could be one of the greatest places of opportunity. We're also looking out at that lake out there. There's still something there we haven't tapped, and people are working on it. So I think you can't be afraid to stand up for what you believe in. I think there's more of us that are feeling that way. And I can't say to you enough. When you sit in a room with Tim Timken from Canton, Tony Alexander from First Energy, and Chris Connor from Cleveland, and they're all working together like I've never seen it. The power of this, when you start getting into some of the statistics that Team Neo has in that, and you look at our per capita income as it compares to some of the other major markets, our average per capita income, aren't I correct, is higher than Atlanta. It's higher than Raleigh, North Carolina. But none of us know that or talk like that. So learn more about, go to the Team Neo website, go to the Cleveland Plus website and watch that video, then go talk about it. I think it's the only way we're going to change some of these people.
Thanks, Don. That's great.
Good afternoon, Jonathan Hollifield, Urban League of Greater Cleveland. Two questions, one for Team Neo, describing the optimism and the business attraction and recruitment strategy. What is the policy and opportunity infrastructure that makes Northeast Ohio a haven for small and medium businesses to relocate, and how can we strengthen that? And secondly, for both NorTech, BioEnterprise, and Jumpstart, you guys are growing the top line in our community, doing an excellent job. However, there are those who don't quite meet the top line opportunity, but yet have wonderful business models and opportunities and ideas. How can we build that middle line infrastructure so that those kinds of companies continue to make a contribution to our region?
There we go. Don, I think you're first again.
Okay. No, I'd start with, why are we at the hotbed for these opportunities to attract businesses? I think because of the assets and some of the community involvement we have around us. If you're in biomedical, where can you go find the research centers, the universities, and the hospitals like UH, the clinic, SUMA, all of them, anywhere in the country? So when you start packaging that. I also say our university network. When you go Akron U, Kent State, Cleveland State, Case, and you start bundling this all together, the opportunities there and the talent that's nearby you if you're not afraid to go out and reach out. I'd also say some of the community network like the Jumpstart organizations, the President's Council for Minority Business, where you get assigned a mentor and you work with local CEOs to help you bring your business along. The power of the GCP, the power of the Greater Akron Chamber. These entities are around in place, and someone coming into this community at times are just shocked by what we have. We just got to reach out to it and go grab it. So to me, it does give some startup, the incubator down in Akron. I know there's other things elsewhere, but these places are out there. And so the environment's fresh here. And there's good work talent. I mean, there's a pool of talent around here that you can tap into.
That's great. Thanks, Don. And one thing we should mention is that although each of these organizations play a specific role, we each have the same goal, and that's transforming this economy for the benefit of all the citizens in Northeast Ohio. And we work hard at that. I know it's hard because there are 5 folks here, and each of their organizations are trying to address a $170 billion economy, trying to turn that. But everybody has to participate, and we all believe that strongly. The second question for NorTech Bioenterprise and Jumpstart reflects on that question. Growing the top line, how are we going to make sure that these opportunities get to the middle and the bottom lines here?
Let me try to take a crack at that. I think there are two responses to that. One, the energy initiative, we are looking at the supply chain in detail. That was actually very early on part of the process. And secondly, Dorothy's made this point before, but there are about 9,000 high-tech jobs that are open right now where we can't find people. It comes back to the question that was asked of Don, how do we get people to recognize the attractiveness of this area? So I've actually been looking at why people are reluctant to relocate to this area and see if we can develop a program that would make it easier for people to come here. One of the reasons that people seem to be reluctant to come here is they're afraid if they lose their job here, they're going to have to leave the region. How do we deal with that? Because as was pointed out, I came here 5 years ago. This is a wonderful area for family and for business. Bioenterprise, Jumpstart really will help new companies, especially in the biotech space, grow from an idea to a real company. I've done it 4 times here. And so not only is the technology here, but the platforms to take you along are here. And that doesn't exist in places like Philadelphia, because that's where I was before.
I'd like to build on that too, Dorothy, if I may. You know, the ancient Greeks and Romans said that potential is the most fatal of charms, meaning that if you have it and you don't realize it, it's a tragedy. And if you have it and you do realize it, it's expected. Ironically, if we take a look at what Bioenterprise has been able to do, I think it's nothing short of alchemy. And what I mean by that is we will take scientists who are wonderful scientists but have virtually or literally no business acumen and find a partner and a startup company to take something from concept through science to reality. On the other side of that same equation, we've been involved in a number of publicly traded companies who have moved here, have been started here and gone public, and everywhere in between. So the idea of making that relationship work between scientist and business, and making the application between scientist, business, and funder, and by focusing on venture capital, Beja, where do we stand right now in terms of national ranking, in terms of where we stand as an incubator environment?
Probably in the top 10.
Exactly, and people don't realize that here in Northeast Ohio. I don't know what the exact number is.
Top 10
Oh, it's top 10,
of,
right,
yeah.
excuse me, yeah. So, you know, we are one of the best places in the country, and by some measures, we're hoping the world to come and create a company, either from scientific theory and thought into a business translation, or to an already existent company to move here for all the right reasons.